What up, everybody? It's your boy Kentario, and I'm back again for another episode of Christ and Comic Books. And today we are looking to talk about Wandavision. Now, you might be asking, why did he wait so long to talk about Wandavision? Well, one, of course, I'm a working guy, so I don't have a lot of time to just sit and record. But at the same time, I thought it would be wiser to allow the series to finish so that we can talk about it in whole, and then, of course, discuss, the Christian perspective as well. Just be prepared that you're going to, one, see this video in full. Two, you're going to see this video in part. I'm going to start with the parts first, then I will promote the entirety of the video, because as you can see, this video is kind of long. So today, I want to take the opportunity to, one, let's talk about the comic perspective for what we got in the show of WandaVision. Let's actually talk about my personal theories that I had. Even though it seems theories about what people are expecting to happen in these Marvel shows is becoming sort of a negative thing, it's fun for us, especially those that either like to read comic books, hear about what happened in the original comic books. That's something that we actually value. So it's not a bad thing to have a theory. It's only bad when your theory doesn't come true and then you just completely bash the show in response. That's where it's bad. But if the show has such a great creative genius to it, don't give it any negative results. But as we go to end the video, we will definitely be discussing what's a Christian's perspective on what took place in WandaVision. Alright, let's get into it. Now, starting with the comic book, there's a lot to unpack there that I don't want to spend too much time trying to actually do. Because what you find yourself doing is, you'll say, well, this is what happened before. Well, what led up to that? Well, this is what happened before. That led up to that. And I don't want to spend a lot of time doing that. Just take the time to go and read the comics, and then you'll get a better understanding of what led up to the outcome of what happened in the comic books and some of the content that was involved in the show of WandaVision. So, the story starts out with Avengers Dissassembled. I think this is a great place where a lot of us can start if you're strictly looking to talk about the story of Wanda and her psychological break. So, in the story of Avengers Dissassembled, we have Wanda looking to come against the Avengers. And a couple of the reasons for that is, one of which is that she believes that they took her children, her two children that we got in the show. I believe it was Billy and Tommy, also known as Speed and Wiccan, which we know to be a part of the Young Justice team. But as far as this goes with Avengers Disassembled, those two, although she made them exist, between her and Vision, there were also illusions that were conjured. So when the illusion was broken, she began to blame the Avengers for that being the case. There's a lot there that's happening that she's blaming them for. And one of the other things too, go ahead and give speaking to this, is that what they did was similar to what we saw in the movies for the MCU. Instead of Vision being sentient and having a mind of his own for the most part, they turned him basically strictly robot again. So the memories that he had and the stuff that he had experienced prior with Wanda and other such things of that nature, they have remodeled him to no longer have that function. So she's shifting a lot of blame to the Avengers. So one of the things she did was, she did two things. One thing that she did was she caused an illusion or altered reality to where they felt as though they were being attacked by another alien race. And so in conjuring that, to defeat that reality, Hawkeye sacrificed himself to take down the main enemy. So because of what Wanda did, this led to the death of Hawkeye. Now, two, another thing that she did at this point in time, we have where Tony Stark is a primary funder for the X-Men and the X-Mansion. He is the one that's been financially supporting them and protecting them. Of course, as we know, all throughout X-Men history, they've always dealt with a high level of discrimination. However, with Wanda's frustrations with Tony Stark, which we did get a lot of in the movie as well as in the show of WandaVision, there's some enmity there between Wanda and the Stark Industries. She causes Tony to fall back into his drunken behavior before a lot of these people that he holds a lot of stock with and investments with, who invest into Stark Industries. She made him look foolish basically tying it back to, I think it was called The Devil in the Bottle is the name of the comic, but that gave more depth to Tony Stark's character back in the day, where you find out that he was an alcoholic. And then him having already broken that, and people yet still knowing about that, him looking as though he was drunken or coming off of a hangover before this council, hurt him financially. So he lost a lot of those investments with those other companies and other business partners. So that made him lose money. So she caused some infringement on him from that perspective. And her causing all of this damage and disassembling the Avengers. Magneto, being her father, comes to her aid from a mental health perspective, picking her up and saying, look, well, I'm going to get you help. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be basically saying I'm going to be that father that you need right now. So he takes her, and they basically go and hide away in what's known as Genosha. Genosha was this place that Magneto had established as a safe haven for mutants, a place where they could live, where they could thrive, but they had just suffered a heavy attack from another enemy, of course, looking to decimate all mutants. And this place is looking all kinds of destroyed. That being said, this is where she's being kept, and we have Professor Xavier attempting to assist with her mental health. How he's doing that is he's basically watching her try to reestablish this alternate reality where she has herself, she has her two babies, she has the Vision that she fell in love with, her father, her brother, her entire family. We're all together, we're all in this happy place, everything's better now. But Professor Xavier is constantly having to go back and say, hey, snap out of it. Hey, snap out of it. This isn't real. You need to break this. We need to get over this. We need to get back to the reality that you're actually living in. No Vision, no babies, the Genosha's destroyed. You only have your father and your brother. Value mutants. Let's work together from here, kind of thing. But what also is being revealed in this moment, every time he's trying to help her break it, it's revealing more and more of the extent of her mutant powers to Professor X. So Professor X has come to the conclusion that she is a planetary, universal, even more so probably a multiversal threat, depending on how far broken she goes and what she decides to do. So in response to this, you find Professor X going to the Avengers and saying, he's gathered them all together and saying, hey guys, we have a problem. This is one of the main things that no matter how much you see the Avengers get disassembled, it'll bring them back together, is there's a threat across the entirety of the universe, multiverse, etc. So we need to bring them down. So the Avengers are planning to come and bring down Wanda. Go ahead and kill her. We need to kill her because her threat level is so high. But then you have, on the other hand, in Genosha, you have Magneto talking with Quicksilver as Wanda is sleeping, and they're arguing back and forth basically because Quicksilver knows what the plan is. We don't need to do this, though, is his perspective. You need to do something. You're her father. You need to protect her. But in this instance, we get one moment where Magneto demonstrates a sense of value of all life over a mutant. This is the one time that actually happens. One of the few times that actually happens. He's like, we need to save the universe versus saving this one mutant that's about to be destroyed. Where he values all mutant life because they're already being decimated to begin with. So that's something that's really deep to think, the struggle mentally that Magneto may be going through in this moment, to decide that it might be better to just let them kill her off. But the panel kind of ends there with them two having that argument. The Avengers show up to come and take down Wanda, and in this moment you start to see them disappear. Now there's no cluing as to what's happening here. Is Wanda actually destroying everybody? What's going on? This shifts to, you see several different Avengers, like in their own realities. Not their own realities, but you see them like, just like, you got Peter Parker waking up in bed beside Mary Jane. You have Wolverine waking up in bed with Mystique. You have Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, otherwise known today as Captain Marvel, that's what everyone recognizes her as, being around and just flying and doing heroic things. You have Doctor Strange operating as a psychologist. So you're getting these different pictures of different heroes doing something completely different than what they were going to do in the moment. So what we learned here is that what Wanda has done is she has completely altered reality. Now, we don't know 100% to what extent this has been altered, because it starts out by giving this picture strictly from the perspective of New York. But we also can see with it going as far as Genosha too, she has really spread her impact across this entire reality. So this story kicks back into focusing on Wolverine. One of the things about Wolverine, save a whole nother character, he's one that, oddly enough, where he had jacked up memories. That's one thing that's significant about the character of Wolverine and the stories behind Wolverine, is everyone loved the complexity of his memories. You don't know which memories are true. You don't know what origin is true. What experiences were in his control versus weren't. What can you blame him for versus what you can't blame him for. There's that high level of complexity that's found there with Wolverine, that when you're looking at the story of House of M, where it's just like, wow, I know everything from beginning to end. Like, all these hundreds of years I've been alive, I have my memories. But the thing about him having those memories is he has the memories of what reality was like before. So one of the complex things with the way that the story is now with him having these memories is he realizes that she's completely changed reality. As the MCU is giving that perspective for when these stones are removed out of their timeline, it causes an alternate timeline to be birthed. With what she's done here, she's caused an alternate timeline to be birthed from the original reality. Almost like redirecting it completely out of line, versus there being one continuing and then they're shifting a whole other platform. So that's one thing to kind of just keep in mind for those that like, reality warping and time travel and all of those things, how realities are affected and multiverses are created. It's very complex, but it's also fun to just sit and kind of think about too. So that's something that we find here. Wolverine realizing this isn't our reality, we need to fix it. So instead of sticking around with Mystique, who's apparently his lover in this reality, he hops ship to try and find some people to see if they, to get some help. Let's get this fixed and get some help. Now, one thing I also forgot to mention was, with everyone in their respective realities that they're in, they're experiencing what I would call Kaguya Tsukuyomi. And if any of you guys know Naruto, Kaguya Tsukuyomi was where she cast an illusion on the moon. With the moon being hit with that illusion, everyone who looks at the moon, boom, they're caught up in this trance. And now they're seeing their perfect universe. So that's what Wanda did. Wanda caused everyone to have their perfect universe. In her doing this, it was an attempt, in a sense, to get everybody to a place of peace, to where you all have what you want, so now I can have what I want. So you don't need to come bother me. That's basically the premise here. But with Wolverine going around to try and find help, first starting with Xavier, but finding out that he's not there, he's still, of course, on this hunt. And in the midst of all of this, we find out that mutants are the top race right now. It's not humanity that's on top, it's mutants. But they're not on top in a completely discriminatory fashion. They're on top from the standpoint of we can live freely. We can be in public schools and live out as the, altered forms that we have, or the mutant abilities. We can just live that outrightly. Now, the other complexity there is that you do find, though, with them being in positions of power, with them living freely, that the punishment towards humans and committing crimes is way worse than the punishment put on mutants. So you do see, regardless of the roles, what's so significant there, regardless of who's in power, they're going to abuse the power. So it doesn't matter who's in power. I think that's actually rather powerful imagery that's given there, because we do always see with the X-Men, like I said, that battle against discrimination. But let them rise to power, then it can all still lead to someone else being discriminated against or belittled or even, killed. So the destructive behaviors would continue regardless, especially with how this reality was made in the image of, for the most part. So, to continue, being that Wolverine did not find Xavier, in this moment it's like, okay, well, you're thinking one of two things. One, where is Xavier? Two, what kind of reality did Xavier wish for? Right? So, it could have been one of those two things. So, instead of him being able to work with him, he ends up having to now go to Emma Frost. Now, you might be asking the question, well, why are we looking for Xavier or Emma Frost? It's their telepathic abilities, their psychic powers that's allowing for them to tap into the minds of those that are seeing this alternate reality as reality, and they can break that. So I think he has some level of wisdom about how that power will work to their benefit. That's why he's looking for Emma Frost in this moment. So in finding Emma Frost sees the mind of Layla Miller. Layla Miller is this young girl who, in this messed up reality, is one person that knows the prior. She knows what everything actually was beforehand. See, there's a difference here. She's just someone that knows what it was like before, while Wolverine is someone in fixing his jacked up memories to give him what he wants. He has his memories of his past life too. So that's where that gets complex. So, in Emma Frost reading the mind of Layla Miller, she sees what's happened. But in her mind, as she's seeing what's happened and what everything is like now in this alternate reality, she's piecing together we're in House of M. We're in House of Magneto, or House of Magus. Magus being his family name. So, in seeing that also in this universe, Genosha is a very prospering and successful nation, with the House of Magus being the leading family for this nation. Almost like trying to replicate or reflect either Wakanda or what Dr. Doom has been able to do with his homeland as well, where he has made it a prosperous place for his people, as evil as Dr. Doom comes off to be. And that's what Magneto's looking to do here for mutants. This is the place where we can live freely. This is the place where we are successful. We are the ones that are thriving. We are the ones that are kings. That's what we have here. So Emma Frost is in a rage. And in her being upset, she goes to release other members of the team from prior that was coming to attack Wanda, releasing them from their reality now to see the truth. And then freeing them, this of course what starts the plan off for them to go, and we need to bring down Wanda. We're back at it again with the bringing down Wanda plan, right? So they go to attack. They go to attack Genosha, but in going to attack Genosha, they have to do it in two ways. In one way, they have the primary team, or assault team, they go to send in this moment, it's very weird. You have where Sentinels are fighting on behalf of mutants. It's odd. They're fighting for mutants, but they're also still tracking mutants. Very weird. But they use the Sentinels to go in first to attack. They're trying to attack Genosha. We got Magneto, of course, coming in to fend them off. But on the low side, you have Emma Frost, you have Layla Miller, and then you have the superhero known as Cloak. He partners with another young lady named Dagger. I think she can conjure up like these energy daggers, while he's almost like Nightcrawler, but constantly. So he can just phase through things and teleport. So that's his ability. Travel through the shadows, that kind of thing. So he's teleporting these two, Emma and Layla, to try and find Xavier. But what they find is a memorial tribute to Xavier. Now in this moment, Emma's wanting to think that he's dead, but Cloak reveals as he goes underground to try and find the body, there's no body. So this is simply a memorial, not a gravesite. So his body is yet still not found. Now, this shifts to Doctor Strange. This is extremely significant if you're trying to piece together, well, how much of this is related to MCU? This is significant. Doctor Strange goes in and he gets the truth from Wanda for what's really happened. As he comes in, she's of course playing with her two babies. She's been trying to get them babies, man. She's been trying to get them babies to just exist. I think that's hilarious. But in him showing up, he goes to talk to her and get the truth. She reveals that, hey, this isn't Magneto that did this. It's actually Quicksilver. So when we panel back to Quicksilver pleading for the life of Wanda, Magneto leaves the room and is in agreement with what the Avengers are looking to do. Quicksilver, however, goes to talk to Wanda, basically tells her everything, and is like, hey, give them what they want, we can have what we want, and we can live this perfect life. So that's what really led up to all of this taking place. So, long story short, Magneto gets his memories back. Magneto getting his memories back leads into an uproar. Now there's this epic panel in this moment that's just so awesome. And he says, what have you done in my name, boy? Talking about Quicksilver. He gets the truth of what even Quicksilver did, because he knows it wasn't him. The only other person to tip Wanda would have been Quicksilver. So we have Magneto in a fit of rage, goes off on Quicksilver, Simply put, killing Quicksilver. And Magneto killing Quicksilver. This sets Wanda off. Wanda basically explodes in power. Her power level like shoots up because now she's lost somebody else that she loves. But it's a double hit because one, where she has altered reality, right? To get what she wants, she's lost someone even in my perfect reality. But even in the past reality, he's someone that was either one, that it was existent, and two, that, you know, she didn't have to conjure to exist. She didn't have to manipulate him. He was there. And for him to get killed off, he's gone. Whether it's my reality or the alternate, he's gone. So that's the depth of that death hitting her to that extent. So much so she, I don't know why she did that, but she makes Magneto's mouth go away. So it's extremely dark. But what you also have happening here, remember, I didn't tell y'all this? Hawkeye's back. When she altered reality, she brought back Hawkeye. But in bringing back Hawkeye, they awoke Hawkeye's memories. So Hawkeye knew she killed him. So in her going to mourn over the dead body of her brother, you have Hawkeye creeping in the back, shooting her in the back with an arrow. And like I said, he remembered what she did to him. She remembered what he did that led up to his death. So he gets his revenge, shooting her in the back. Now in this moment, you don't see that she necessarily dies, but you see that she's expressing this mournful the sorrowfulness and then this resentment towards mutants now, where she was trying to make a world perfect for mutants. She is now frustrated with mutants. No matter what, we're going to be coming against each other. Other people are going to be coming against us. I'm going to continue to lose out, never have anything that I want. You know what? And then she goes and says the most powerful line in the entire series: no more mutants. She says no more mutants. And then there's a flash. Everyone's taken back to their taken back to the original reality, to the real lives, the way everything truly was. And in this moment, it's just like, okay, did we fix it? Well, that's question one. Where's Xavier? Because we still haven't found him. Question two, where's Wanda? Because now Wanda's gone. But then the biggest thing that's occurred, what about the mutants? What we find out in this moment is when Emma Frost goes back to the Xavier Institute, that there are only like 10 mutants out of all the mutants in their school that are still mutants. Everyone else is a normal human being. So this is the story of House of M. So as we go to end this video, guys, but I thank you all for tuning in with me on this journey. I hope you all have yourselves a blessed evening. Peace.